And it's funny though, like our guy Mark Rogers was talking about this the other day. Caden Procter, the reason why he left Iowa to return Alabama on the Tides That Bind documentary, I never heard the words national championship come out of their mouths. Love it. Like that's just so funny.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Tides at Bond. He's featured first episode. He's featured a lot in that.
oh man. Because like Iowa, they haven't been to a natty in since before either of us were born. Like that's not good, but I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
it's not great. But I mean, it's Iowa football. They do good enough, and then they haven't won an outright Big Ten title since the Hayden Fry era. I mean, like all their Big Ten titles that they've won under Kurt Ferentz were shared titles, but it is
Mhm.
like my goodness, like I'm glad that Caden Proctor's back at Bama.
Yeah. Well, and he was featured in the Tide Binds and the Tides Bind, and I watched it, and I listened to a lot of his comments about why he came back to Tuscaloosa, why he left, and then why he came back, and it's interesting, very interesting.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's very interesting. So, um, and he's very very sincere individual. I think he got hurt early in with the shoulder and that kind of stuff, and may have affected his play throughout the whatever because he was on that left tackle over there, and Milrow, and I've talked about him with regard to this past fall, and a lot of pressure on that left side with regard to him. I'm not sure how much we knew or know still today about that shoulder injury. It happened in the warm-ups before the opening game. What was that? Western Kentucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, just kind of you know on and on and on. So
Well, and he also, and before he talked about how he didn't hear the words national championship come out of Iowa's mouth. He talked a little bit about how when Coach Saban left, he started thinking, who's going to be the new coach? What am I going to do? I came here to play for Coach Saban. Then he went back to Iowa. Boom. The rest is history.
yeah, and
And
it was his friendship with the players in Tuscaloosa brought him back.
there we go. And, he did apologize to Kalen DeBoer face to face. And he said, it's one of the worst decisions I've made in my life. Looking back, I had so many people who cared for me were trying to tell me that this was the best place for me. I really wasn't thinking it through. I let Coach DeBoer and the staff talk to me, trying to convince me to stay, but I wasn't really sitting there and listening to them. I was just so hell bent on going back home. No one's going to change my mind. It was humbling because I'm not really the type of person to do that. I felt like that was the right thing to do because I realized I really didn't listen. And, he did miss the first 2 weeks of the 2024 season. And
That
I
was injury.
huh?
That was injury.
Yep.
First two. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's refreshing to see him back at Alabama, because it was like, what a loss that would have been if we didn't have him for 2024.
Yeah. The documentary on Fox Nation, um, the tides that bind. I've watched the first episode, and then I'm almost through the second episode. But what he was featured in the first, um, along with others. Don't get me wrong, but it was kind of what he said that he signed. He wanted to play for Coach Saban, and things changed. But he also said that. what he loved about Tuscaloosa and what he loved about, being, there on campus was his connection with his, teammates, his offensive linemen. And he was specifically really close with Wilkin. Is it Fromby or Formby? Fromby?
Mm-hmm.
Which was, a guy from Tuscaloosa. And they, he was really close with him and his family and the team, the team and that kind of stuff. And he left for whatever reasons, and then finally he realized he missed, being with those guys, and he said, hey, I want to come back. And he talked Coach DeBoer. It's in the video documentary, and said, he says, I'd love to come back. I made a mistake, and that's it. And so you learn his loyalty to his teammates, and being there in Tuscaloosa, and his friendship with Wilkin, and it was good to see. Very positive.
Yeah,
And I'll tell you another thing, Jack. What I gleaned, took away from the first episode is, I was very impressed with Jalen Milroe. I really was. And there's a story in that first episode where he and some of his teammates go and visit a young man family, and the young man has cancer and that kind of stuff, and they form a connection, and the young boy, dies and everything, and to see how they present that connection with, Jalen, the family, and then the father, comes back to the campus later to talk to the players, and Milroe, sees the father after being at his, at the house with his family, and spend that time, and to see how touched Milroe was with regard to seeing the father and their connection, and it was a beautiful thing. And so it was a class act. I was very impressed with how Jalen Milroe handled the situation, and it shows a lot of his character.
Yeah.
Type of person Jalen Milroe is.
Yeah.
Very, very, very eye opening. And so I would suggest any of our viewers, if you have a chance to watch it, it is a beautiful thing. And I'm not doing it justice by trying to describe it, but it was very, I came away that is a quality young man.
Yeah, he is. He
Yeah.
most certainly is. I
Yeah.
hope the NFL works out for him, but
It
if it
will.
doesn't, then he's got other options.
Well, here the betting, I guess the betters in Las Vegas is, will Jalen clock out, or whenever they do the combine 40, will he clock out as the fastest quarterback, NFL quarterback ever?
Yeah, there you
There
go.
you go. Hey, speed kills, and I somebody's not going to let that guy slip away, and he's a good
No,
character.
nor
So
should they.
yeah.
He's a great guy.
So my thoughts are he's going to be a success. That's a quality kid. I say kid, he's a man now.
There you go.